here from Unique in the Creek, and today I'm going to be doing the pre-cut rose kits from Unique in the Creek. They come in 3 different colors, and you'll see pre-cut meaning that the mesh is already cut for you. So these are perfect if you want to host a workshop or like a bachelorette party or even a ladies' night, because everything you need is right here in the bag. Okay, so you don't even have to fuss by cutting your mesh. So we have the hot pink, which I'm going to be making today. We have the yellow, and we have the red. Okay, so everything in the kit is exactly the same except the color of mesh, and the dragonflies that we put in the kit are also various colors. Okay, oh, that one's cute, the blue and pink. Anyways, so there is 3 different colors. They're $25.99, so it's a pretty good price, and it has, like I said, everything you're gonna need for the to make your rose, including the Unique in the Creek board. Okay, so you get 42 pieces of pre-cut mesh, and you get 8 pieces of green mesh. Okay, there's plenty of mesh if you want to do it on the small board or the large board. Now the kit does come with the small board, but you may want to do it on the large board. You'll make just a little bit, a rose a little bit, couple inches bigger than on the small board. Okay, so you get your pre-cut mesh. You get, obviously you get your Unique in the Creek board. You get 250 of the clear rubber bands in the kit. So you notice, if you've watched some of our videos, you notice I do use rubber bands to pre-make our petals. This year I've actually included the rubber bands in your kit. You get 100 6-inch zip ties. You get your zip tie wire cutter or zip tie cutter. They're end cutters, the pink handles. You also get 2 of the metal clips, and you'll see when I use those, they're just to hold the mesh while we're making the rose. And you also get the QR code card that you can just scan, and it'll take you right over to the Unique in the Creek YouTube under Wreath Kits, or if you can't scan the code, the URL is right below. Okay, so this will take you right to this video, which I'm going to edit in a little bit. Okay, and then you get a cute little dragonfly that's on a wire to add to your rose. Okay, so that's all the stuff that's in the kit, and that's all you'll need. Now you may need scissors, but if you're like doing a group setting, you can just share scissors. Pretty much everybody has a pair of scissors at home. But other than that, that's pretty much all you're going to need. Okay, so we're going to get started. Just going to put this all back in. So that's the pink, and like I said, we got the yellow and then the red. Okay, so this is the Unique in the Creek small board. All right, now if you've never worked with our boards before, they're quite easy to use. The large and the small board are mostly used for flowers. Using the small board today, and each row is numbered on the small board. So you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have 2 holes right in the center. Okay, so I'll be referring to each row as I build my rows. Okay, so you can see them. You may not be able to see it on the screen, but you can see them in person. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you the petal. Now there's a few different ways you can do this. Like I said, you do get the rubber bands, the clear rubber bands. Now these are to pre-make your petals if you want to pre-make them. I highly recommend doing that. That way, you know, if you are putting your petal into your zip tie and you let go, your petal's not going to open and you won't have to redo it all again. I like to sit and do them while I'm watching TV, and I just throw my petals into a laundry basket or a shopping bag or whatever. To make your petal, it's very easy. Okay, this is the petal for the whole rose. I'm just trying to get my center on here. There we go. Okay, as you can see, the mesh is nice and flat. Okay, it is heat sealed. However, nothing stays non-frayed forever. So you may find a few strings here and there while it goes through the packaging machine, but for the most part, it's nice and flat, and it's easy to work with. I chose this mesh, A, to keep the kits inexpensive, and B, this is a really good mesh if you want to put this completely outdoors. The only thing that may not hold up the best outside in the inclement weather would be your little dragonfly. The little dragonfly, the wings are made with like feathers, but other than that, it should withstand the inclement weather. Okay, so you could put this out at on your fence, or in a grave site. I'm stumbling over my words today. Okay, so you're going to take a piece of your mesh. I love the pre-cut mesh, nicely flat. Okay, you're going to take a couple of the elastics. Okay, so what you're going to do is you have your, and these are cut 10.5 by 10.5, so you'll have pretty much a perfect square. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to turn your mesh. So there's our factory edges right at the top and the bottom, and these are the sides where it's been cut. You're going to turn your mesh into a diamond shape. Okay, take the top corner and you're going to bring it right down to the bottom corner. Okay, we don't want to flatten this mesh. You want to keep it nice and poofy so your rose stays nice and poofy. Now, you're going to flip it. Now, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to flip this whole thing to my left. And you can note that my tattoo is my right hand. Okay, so if you need to follow, when I say right and left, my tattoo is the right hand. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch up about 3 inches. Now, if you don't have a ruler or a cutting mat, you could even take your QR code card out of your bag, and it is, I believe it's 6 inches. Oh, it's 3 inches, that's right. So the card is just a little over 3 inches. What you can do is put your card right down at the center, and at the end of your card is where you're going to pinch in the middle. Okay? So, and this is important that you have a 3-inch tail here. Okay? Now, I haven't taught it like this previously, but this is another little trick I learned to make. I keep learning and learning little things to make the best outcome for the rose. Okay? So take your card, put it down on your mesh, pinch it, and in the middle, then you're going to bring the top to the middle, the bottom to the middle, and you're going to have this like umbrella type formation, okay? Or jellyfish, or stingray, whatever you want to call it. But you got a nice 3-inch tail here. Then you're going to take your rubber band and go around it a couple times, okay? And that is your petal. You're going to make all the pieces of mesh exactly like this. Okay, we're going to do it a couple more times. So again, you're going to take your mesh, whether it be pink, yellow, red, whatever color you're using. Okay, 10.5 by 10.5. Turn it into a diamond. Take the top corner, bring it to the bottom corner, swing it to the left or the right, whatever hand you are. You can take your card. We want 3-inch tail. At the end of the card, pinch. Bring the top into the middle, the bottom into the middle. Keep holding on to that tail, and then you're going to put a rubber band around it. Okay, that's how you do it for pre-making your petals. If you don't want to pre-make your petals, which I highly recommend you do, you can fold your petal and put it right into the zip tie. Okay, now to do your zip ties, like I said before, we are using the small board. Okay, you do get 100 zip ties in your kit. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, you have row 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's 5 rows on the large board. Where it says number 1, there is a set of holes here. And then there's 2 holes that kind of are divoted in. Those are for your hanging. Those are your hanging holes that we'll use at the end so that you can hang your wreath up. Okay? But what I want you to note is the set of holes where the number 1 is in between. Okay, we're not going to put a zip tie in that set of holes. We're going to put a zip tie right in the next set of holes to the right. Okay, to do that, you're going to take your zip tie, and you're going to go down 1 hole. Make sure the flat part of your zip tie head, and you'll notice that you can see that there's a flat part and a more concave part. The flat part goes in between the 2 holes so that when you bring the tail of the zip tie up, it's going to go into the flat side, and the zip tie you'll hear a zip, and it will lock. Okay? That's what you want. You don't want to do your zip tie too close to the board because you want to give yourself room to work, okay? So there's not very much space there to work. So you want to make sure, just till you hear a couple zips. Okay. There we go. And it's locked. We're going to skip the next set. And put a zip tie like that. We're going to skip every other set of holes, and you're going to do your zip tie up exactly like this. So you're going to have 8 of them. Okay, we're going to do the outside row because once I start putting mesh on row 3, 2, and 3, you're really not going to be able to see row 1. So I like to start with row 1 so you got for teaching purposes so you guys can see it. But if you want, you can start in the center and work your way out. I do the first row, and then after I'm done the first row, I then go to the center. It's just easier for teaching like that. Okay, so we're back here. So we got 8 zip ties on row 1. Alrighty. Now, what I said, you don't have to put the rubber bands on. You can put it straight in to the zip tie. And what I meant by that is you're going to make your petal exactly the same, okay, by turning it into a diamond. Take that top corner, bring it to the bottom corner, still swing it. Again, 3 inches. Now again, I'm just using a card just in case some of you don't have a measuring tape or a cutting mat. Okay, you pinched it right at the 3 inches. You got this big long tail. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a bit, I leave about 1 inch. Just get some of that bulk out of from this tail here, and I'm going to put my petal in going towards the center. All right, right till the zip tie hits my fingers. And once it hits my fingers, I'm doing this up. Okay? We'll do it again. Okay, square. Top to the bottom. Swing it 3 inches, or even if you have a cutting mat or a ruler. Got that big tail. Again, I'm going to cut a little bit off. Put the tail in the zip tie on row 1, going towards the center. This is these 8 pieces of mesh that we're putting in are the only ones that will have the tail going towards the center. Okay, if you remember that, you'll be good. All the rest of them, the tails will be going towards the outside of the board. Okay, so we're gonna fill up each one of these with a petal. Now, if you pre-make your petals, it goes a little bit faster. So you're gonna put it in and do your zip tie right over top of the rubber band, because the rubber band is actually at the 3-inch mark for my tail. And this is really important, because if you leave the tail of your mesh too short, like if you fold it and then you just pinch it down here, like a really small tail, what's going to happen is your corners are not going to stay down in the rows. They're going to want to keep popping up. So if you make a 3-inch tail, you can see how it's rounding and the corners are going down. Okay? So I have a little cutting mat that I use on my lap upstairs. And this is pre-cut mesh, so it's not like you have to sit at your table and cut the mesh. You can just literally use a small little cutting mat or a chopping board or something, anything, even a cookie sheet on your lap, and just pre-make your petals. Throw them in a grocery bag or throw them in a laundry basket if you want to pre-make them. Okay. Now I'm going to take our wire cutters or our zip tie cutter, and you can see that it's flat like this. You're going to go straight down right to the head of the zip tie and squeeze. It will cut your zip tie tails. You don't want to use your scissors because it'll just dull your scissors, and we don't want to dull scissors, so we put these in the kits. Okay, so 8. I just keep a little basket thingy here so I can throw my garbage out. All right, so we have our outside. I'm starting to get big already. So now what I'm going to do is the zip ties I've already put on the board. What I'm going to do is go right over top of those same zip ties, okay? So down and up. And do it up again just till you hear a little bit clicking. We're still skipping that one. Down and back up. And you're going to do that for all 8. All right, so we have 8 again, right over top of the zip ties we just put in. Okay? Now just pick, doesn't matter where you pick, what zip tie you pick, okay? What you're gonna do is, I'm gonna use this zip tie right here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the petals that are neighboring this zip tie, okay? And I'm going to put the corner of one neighbor into the zip tie, the corner of the other neighbor into the zip tie, not too far in, okay, just so it's crisscrossed and it's in about an inch. And then once both sides are in, you're going to pull that zip tie tight. This is going to make that nice scalloped edge on the outside of your rose. Okay, and now I like to have the corners going on top into the zip tie. So you just go around and put those corners in. Not too far, only about an inch in, and they're just crisscrossed over. Hopefully you can see that. All right, and then you pull it tight. Bring the corner up top, on top. Put one side in. Put the other neighboring side in. Okay, and then zip. And you're going to go around and do this for all 8. This is the easiest way that I can show you how to make a rose. And this goes for any mesh. Now, if you're using a value mesh, or a value mesh, or a mesh that doesn't have like metallic stripes or anything in it, and it's, you know, doesn't have very good hiding qualities, you may want to double up your pieces of mesh. So use 2 pieces per petal instead of 1, so you don't see through your rose. Okay, so we are done. That is one of the things that people complain about. Oh, we have one more. Complain about the most is row 1. And you can see it's not that hard. So I bring it up top. And you can see how it's made that beautiful scallop look. Okay, that's row 1 done. You're going to go around, clip off these tails again, going straight down with your zip tie clipper right to the head of the zip tie and snip it off. Okay. We will put the green leaves on at the end. The reason I do it at the end is because I start building the rose from the center now, and I don't want to get the green leaves all tattered. So I like to do that at the end, so it doesn't get all frayed and everything. All right, so now we are going to work from the center out. So we are going to finish preloading row 1, 2, and 3. So where those empty spaces are on row 1, you are going to put a zip tie in each of those. Another way you can put them on is just grab something and put this upside down. And we're going to go to row 2. Now row 2, There's the normal set of holes. They're kind of close to each other. And the example is right above the Unique in the Creek logo. There's one set of holes, and then there's a random hole to the right and left. We are not going to use these holes. They're for different flowers. We're just going to preload the normal holes. So what you can do is you can take your zip tie with the flat part facing towards the inner part and just pop them in like that. Just have something underneath, like a coffee cup or something, to raise it up off the table, and you can pop in your zip ties. It's a lot faster like this. And then you'll flip it over and do them up. Okay, so that's row 2, so there's 8. Row 3, another 8. Hitting my thing I have under there. There we go. So you can see that you haven't missed any holes. All right, I'm going to flip this back over and we'll do these up. Again, leave them till you hear just a little zip and they're locked. Row 2 done. Row 3. Now, if you bought 2 kits, like if you bought a red kit and a pink one, or a red and a yellow one, you can make a variegated rose, and you can make 2 of them. So you would do, you know, if you were doing red and pink, you would do every other petal red and every other petal pink throughout the whole rose, and then you'll have a variegated rose. I've seen a red and yellow one done, and it's really, really pretty. Okay, so row 2, 1, 2, and 3 are all done. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is we're going to go down and up that center hole, because we are going to start right in the center, and we're going to work our way out this way. Okay, so I'm putting a zip tie in the very center, and then I'm also going to put a zip tie in each. I'm making this really full, and I want the center to look really full. So I am going to put 8 zip ties using the normal holes, which are the ones closer together. So you'll see the number 4 in between those 2 holes. That is your normal hole. But I'm also using what's called shared holes, which is using the same hole that we just did to the next one. And we're going to do 8 all the way around. We're going to make a nice full center. Again, you can just pop them in from the back if you want. And then when we flip it over, it'll look like stitching on the back. I'll show you in 1 second. Alrighty, so there's the 8. See how it looks like stitching? So you shouldn't have any spaces going all the way around. So there's 8 all the way around and 1 in the center. Alrighty, so that what we're going to do is the very one in the center is the next petal we're going to make. So you're going to take one of your pieces of mesh whether it's pre-folded or not, pre-done. Okay. When you have it into your umbrella shape, I'm going to take, again, I have it going to the left. I'm going to take the bottom corner, and what I'm going to do is bring it and roll it. So I just kind of take the corner and roll it to the center where the tail is. Okay, just like that. So just take your corner, give it a half twist, just like this, and you'll match it up with the bottom there. And then we're just going to roll the rest and bring that tail. So this is what you got. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, take the corner. We're going to roll it in to the center. Okay, hold that. And then you can just roll. You don't have to do it too tight. And then when you have it, get to that little bit of corner, bring it around. And then there's our center of our bud. Take one of your rubber bands, and we're going to again put that rubber band at 3 inches from the bottom of the tail. So about there, and I'm going to put an elastic band right there. This is going to be the start of the rose bud. If you make it too long, your rose is it's gonna look funny. So try and make sure that your tail, where's my little card? If you don't have a measuring tape or anything, get your little QR code card. I don't know where mine went. And just make sure that the tail is about 3 inches long so my elastic band to the end of here is exactly 3 inches. Okay, then I'm just going to cut a little bit off just so I don't have so much bulk. Okay, this is going into the very center zip tie. Okay, and then I'm going to zip tie it right over that rubber band, the very, very center one. So it's this one right here. And then we're going to cut that off. This is going to be the center part of your bud and the base of how tall your rose is going to be. Okay, now because we measured the tails at 3 inches, everything should be the exact same. So you're not going to have a big, rosebud sticking out because we've measured it. This is pretty much a foolproof way of making a rose. Oops. Get some petals ready. So this is why I said pre-making the petals is a lot easier, because once you get your rose going, it's literally just popping the petals in. Okay, it's 3 inches from the elastic band to the end of the tail. Now I did trim some off so I don't have so much bulk on here. You don't have to trim it off, but it's a little bit easier if you can trim, because this is going to get pretty full. All right, I know there's all kinds of zip ties, but you're going to just pick and start in any zip tie that you want on row 4. Just pick a zip tie. You're going to take the tail, and remember I said everything except these 8 are going towards the outside of the board. Only these 8 are the only ones that are going towards the inside. So you remember that, you're good. So you're going to take your tail, pick a zip tie, put your tail in towards the outside of the board, and zip it right where your rubber band is. Okay? Clip it off. Now this is where your clips will come in handy. because you're going to bring that center up, stand it up, and you're going to wrap this first piece, you're going to wrap it or hug it without all the zip ties catching. Just like that, okay? So you see how I've wrapped that around? And you can see it's forming already a nice rosebud. And I'm just going to clip where the two mesh meet here, just to hold it in place until I can put the next one in. So I'm going to keep going counterclockwise or clockwise, it doesn't matter. Just keep going around the zip ties. Like, don't start here and go over here, and it'll just confuse you. So, tail, going towards the outside, zip tie, right where the rubber band is. I'm going to cut the tail off. Again, just going to come around, hugging, bring it around. Now, if you're getting annoyed by your zip ties, you can put your zip ties in as you go on this row. It's totally up to you. Okay, so it's wrapped around. You don't want it too tight. We don't want to look like a cinnamon bun. All right. So where these two pieces are meeting, I'm letting go of that one and I'm putting on that one. So it'll start to fluff out, okay? And you're going to go and do the 8 all the way around. Just keep going to the next one. Now, what I like to use, you'll see when you make your petals, you kind of get a little indent in some of your petals, even if you try and fluff it out, because you do want to keep this fluffy. I like to go with the indent going towards the center of the rosebud, just to use it for my advantage while I'm wrapping. Just makes it a little easier. Now, I did mention about the variegated one. If you wanted to make a variegated one, you would just keep alternating. For instance, the red, yellow, red, yellow. Getting a nice look. See how there's that divot there? I'm going to use it towards the bud. Now we're going to get to a point where our hugging is not meeting each other, which is going to happen. So you do have 2 clips that you can use. We're still on row 4. You just go one at a time. So even if you need to take a break, or if you came back and, did this next week, you know exactly still where you need to go to start back up. So don't be afraid to stop, start, whatever you need to do. Just don't get stressed. It's not hard. If you're doing this along with me, you just stop, rewind, pause, and just do every single step exactly like I'm doing. The only thing I can say is make sure that your petals are that 3-inch. You can see some of those corners are popping up already. So as this builds, it'll start pressing against one another and it'll stay formed like this, and we won't need the clips. And this is the last one on this row. So I'm kind of, I don't know if you can see that, I'm kind of pushing that rosebud a little bit so I can get the tail of the petal in to the zip tie and then doing it up. Cut, and again, you're going to wrap. Okay, I'm just going to flip this over just to make sure. I just flick these to make sure that each one of them, I've got each one. So if you were kind of not knowing if you filled each zip tie, just give it a flick. If it doesn't do that, then it's zipped up. Okay, so we are done the 2 hardest part of the rows. Those were the hard parts, row 1 and the center. It does take practice, but no rows is perfect either. So don't be too hard on yourself. I've done a million of these and every single rose always looks different every time I do them. But this trick with the 3-inch tails, it works really well. All right, so now we're going to start on row 3. Exact same thing. You have a little bit more room though. Tail going towards the outside. Doesn't matter where you start. Just zip it in. Clip the zip tie off, and you're still going to hug. Now, if you can use, if you need more clips, or if you feel you need more clips, we do sell extra packs of the metal clips, but you can use clothespins, or any clothespin or whatever you have handy, just to, it helps you with like an extra set of hands. Again, I'm just kind of pushing that center so I can get my zip tie in. And once it's in and you've cut the tail, you're going to go around and continue hugging that center. Now you don't want to pull it too tight. You want it so that the corners are facing down, but you need to see this part so it makes that rose look. I will be editing this tutorial, and the edited tutorial will be available on Unique in the Creek YouTube channel for your replay. Okay, I have one more left on row 3. So this is the last one. And just kind of push the center with your palm so you can get that tail in. Cut, and make sure that your corners are not like folded in or anything, that they're nicely like wrapped around. Push. Some of these corners like to pop out. If you have some that keep popping out at the end, you can add a little tiny bit of glue at the corner and just so that they'll stay down. Okay, again, I'm going to flip it over just to make sure I didn't miss any. Just give it a flick. All right, there's those 8. Now we're going to do this 8 exactly the same. And it doesn't matter where you start, you're still going to go towards the outside of the board though. Okay, last one on this row. Okay, so the last row, row 1, where we put these ones in between the scalloped, they too are going to go towards the outside, but they're going to go towards the outside, kind of lift your scalloped edge underneath. Meaning, there's your petal. We're still going to put the tail of your petal towards the outside, lift, and then kind of put it underneath your mesh there, and then do it up. And again, go with 8 all the way around. So if I flip it over, you can see that there's the tail right there. Want to make sure that none of the corners are like folded because it'll push it out. It looks a little wonky right now, but once I finish everything, we can stick it, make sure everything is in place where it's supposed to be. Oops. Sliding all over. I meant to bring I have, you know, those little grip sheets you can buy, or for drawers and stuff at the dollar store. They're good to put on your table or cutting mat when you're doing the row, so it's not sliding all over the place. Couple more and we are done. 3 more. Okay, last one. It's pretty tight in here. A lot of mesh. Okay, so we got it all in now. Now the fun part. Okay, so I'm going to take my outside edges and just kind of like make a little bit of a scoop here. So it just brings it up so it's not laying completely flat. Just like that. So that's what all you have to do to the outside one. Now we'll start from the inside by, I like to kind of pull the middle and make sure that the corners are going downwards. So you'll see that some of the corners are popping up. Just tuck them back down. And like I said, if they won't, if you have a couple that don't stay down, like this one keeps trying to pop up, you can use a little bit of like hot glue on it to just put a dab on the corner and kind of push it down into the mesh, and it'll stay down in there. I'm gonna have to do this one. I don't know why it keeps wanting to pop up. I'm going to go around and put the corners down. And I like to bring the middle of each petal kind of upwards so you can see that petal. What's that? The larger part of the rounded part of the petal. Like I said, I always put the green leaves on last, just so when I'm making my rose, my arm isn't hitting all the green and making it all frayed and everything. See, I'm still gonna fuss with this. Okay, I'm gonna flip it upside down. So we're gonna put a zip tie to make our hanger. So right where the logo is, there's two of these, the two holes there, or you can just use this hole we'll just use this one, this set of holes right in the center. We're just gonna put a zip tie down and up, flip it for a hanger. Okay, so there you go, something to hang it with. Okay, now the leaves. You can put the leaves wherever you want. I tend to just do, you know, some right here and then some right here, like 2 here and 2 here. You have 8 if you want to put 8 on. To make the leaves, we are going to use the flower upside down. So there's where the logo is. It's the very center. I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3 zip ties to the left. I'm going to put a zip tie just into this hole because we're going to use that hole to the outside of the board. Okay, so I'm just going to let my zip tie rest like that. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your piece of green, again it's 10.5 by 10.5, turn it into a diamond shape. I have the factory edge at the top and the bottom. And what you're going to do is you're going to pinch from this corner to this corner. Pinch or pleat, whatever you want to call it. You're going to use your thumb and your pointer finger and pinch. Bring some more in, pinch. Take some more in, all the way to the opposite corner. All right, and this is what you have when you do that. I'm going to put a clip on because I'm going to make another leaf and it's going to go in the same zip tie. So again, diamond shape. I start at the bottom, pinch. Now when I pinch at the bottom, I like to have the corner facing towards the table, so not facing up like this. It just makes a better leaf. So pinch. You're just going to drag, pinch and drag. Now you won't be able to do this, you know, if you have a tablecloth on your table, because you're going to pinch the tablecloth. Now, it doesn't matter what kind of mesh you have, it's going to fray. Some of it's going to fray. Just cut the little strings off. You get some frays. Okay, we're going to clip this one again. All right, so where I put this zip tie on, I'm going to take these two leaves. I'm going to take the clip off of one, and I'm going to butt the two centers together just like this and kind of overlap. So there's 1, 2, 1, 2 on each side. Now this is the, see how it's curving down? This is the good side. Now because I'm doing it upside down, I'm going to flip these over. Flip them up like this. Okay, just hold it in my fingers so you have this rounded piece, and you're going to put the zip tie just like that through where the rounded piece is and do it up. Now, once you have it done up, you're going to push that green center so it's sitting on the actual board. Okay. You're going to cut that zip tie off. So when you flip it over, you have your leaves, which will be facing down towards the door. A nice set of leaves. Okay. So that was 2. Look at my corners. It's because I had it upside down. Okay, you can put another, we can put another 2 here if you want. And then I'm going to go directly across and do it kitty corner. So I'm just going to take a hole, the next zip tie over, leave it just sitting on my board, diamond shape. You're going to pinch or pleat all the way up to the top corner, clip it, okay, we're going to take this one, butt the 2 middles together, flip it over, and flipping them upwards. So I have that rounded piece again. I'm going to put my zip tie in that rounded piece, do it up, and then we want to make sure that you don't do up the zip tie tight, so you can push the center of these leaves under so it sits on the board. You don't want any bulk there so it's sitting funny on your door. And then clip that off. And then you flip it over. That's quite a few leaves, but all right, we're going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to go right straight across, and I'm going to put a couple leaves on this side as well. going to leave it like that. Just yeah, so you might as well, if you're going to do your leaves, you might as well wait to do these daggone corners until you've finished your green leaves, because then we're going to have to go around and push them all back down again. But I did heat up my glue gun in case. What you can do is just put a dab of glue right on the corner, lift it up and kind of tuck it in, and it'll just attach itself to the inner part of the mesh there. So if you have some, especially in the center, that are driving you crazy, that's what you can do, is just put a dab of glue, just a little bit, and go around, and you can tuck in those corners. Alrighty, and that's it. That's our finished rose. So I'll do these. I'll do the corners in a little bit, but that is exactly how you make the rose. Doesn't matter what color you're using, either the red, yellow, or pink. You're going to do it exactly the same as this one. And if it's a gift, you can, with a Sharpie marker, you can write on the back a little note. You can date it. It's just a nice little touch. If you're selling it, you may want to put a sticker of your business in behind, or tape a business card on. I'm just going in, these are those tails that were going towards the outside. You can just clean them up if you want. You can't see it from the front, but it just looks better if you clean it up a bit. And there we go. That's the back, nice and neat. And there we go. There's the front. And again, of course, I will. And now we'll put our little dragonfly on. The dragonfly is on a wire. I'm going to cut down this wire. Now, if you don't have a glue gun, all you have to do is take the wire. Where am I going to put him? And I'm just going to kind of weave it through down into the mesh. So I'm just kind of going down, in and out through the mesh till it's in there, and then you can just, where is it? Where'd that wire go? Oh, I just broke them. Don't break them in half. I just broke them. We'll glue them up back together. There we go. Oops. There we go. Cute, eh? Alrighty, well, thanks for joining me. Hopefully, if this is your first rose, don't get frustrated. Take your time. Don't overthink it. Just do it step by step. If the corners keep popping out like mine, just grab a glue gun. You can get even a cheap glue gun if you don't have one. You can get a cheapy one even at the dollar store. And then you can just kind of go around and glue these unruly little corners in. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching, and have yourself the rest of your day. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.